In a world where survival is paramount and the wasteland throws its worst at you, only the strong can thrive. Introducing Emu Energy Drinks, with an apocalyptic powerhouse packed into every can, keeping you sharp, focused, and ready to tackle the wasteland with ease. An epic pick-me-up of haphazard chemicals, strong aftertaste, strange side effects, and unmatched rejuvenation. Emu Energy Drinks. Stay alert, stay alive.
It's the bunker.
Basil's Bunker End Time Supply Subscription Service. Plans starting at just $17.76 a month. No hidden fees. Cancel anytime. 33-day money-back guarantee. Call now for a chance to win an attachable six-finger. Perfect for plausible deniability and AI generations and for your secret Nephilim handshakes. Call now. 1-877-740-3226. Basil's Bunker is solely operated by the Razzle Dazzle Ranch. CCR, CCNT, and the Shimura Estate are not responsible for any claims or guarantees. Call now.
Welcome to Basil's Bunker, where we have many amenities in the advent of coming societal collapse. Bohemian Grove generators powered by Chinese lithium cobalt batteries. Anti-air defense systems rivaling the IDF Iron Dome. Endless end times food ration buckets. And recreational activities like emu wrangling or Monty pet training.
Almost had it, folks. I'm here. I don't know if you can hear me. Here we go. Yo, what's going on, bunkaroos? Glad you're here. Glad I'm here. This, things all of a sudden got really glitchy on my side, which is really unfortunate. So if things get too glitchy out there, please let me know. Things are glitchy, and it's very scary back here. Well, I think I know what is a good start to the show because, of course, I would say mixed reviews, but I think the mix of the reviews is just my own, I don't know, vulnerability and fear that people do not love feeding the ducks as much as I like feeding the ducks. So I think it's a good place to start the show today with your favorite royalty-free stock music that comes with the streaming software. Hello, we got Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman in the chat. We got Guitarman86 in the chat. Let's see here. We'll see if anybody shows up. The timing's a little weird today. But whoever shows up, God bless you. We're glad you're here. And of course, more importantly, sorry, live stream viewers, is the podcast listening audience. Now, there's something about this show, and we're all figuring it out together. Thank you for everybody who continues to send their emails. This is very important. Now, just so everybody knows, it's not a constant stream of emails. So if you're thinking, oh, everybody, so I don't need to say anything about this show. I don't need to let Basil know what I think of his Feeding the Ducks song. The fact is, you do need to. You do need to tell me because these are very helpful emails. And at this point, you know, this show is almost entirely run on moral support. So jump on in, send us an email at canarycryradio@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about this excellent song, Feeding the Ducks, as well as the rest of the show. Everybody should have received a text message if you're on the text message list. Again, if you're not on the text message list, go ahead, go to your phone and text 877-740-3226. Oh, the song's on loop. we did have one person just very politely say that they would prefer we did not have Feeding the Ducks on loop, so I will spare you that. But yes, get on the text message alert system by texting the word canary to 877-740-3226, and you'll never miss a show. Look at this. JCS77 says, came here because of the text. Oh yeah, and we're all feeding the ducks together. The ducks are our friends. The ducks are the best prepper companion you could possibly ask for. They're not here to bother nobody. They're not here to quack and give away your position to the marauding bands of, marauders, I guess. No, a duck just eats your extra bread. You have too much bread anyways. You gotta give the duck a little bit of bread, and then he'll run off, he'll do missions for you. What's better than having a duck that can give you some recon? What? You need water? You running out of water? Did you not prepare yourself with enough water? Let that duck free, my friend. Let that duck free. He will bring you to the water. The great thing about having such a loosey-goosey format of the show is I think we're figuring out some pretty serious, prepper strategies that nobody's come up with yet. Okay, I'm gonna not loop feeding the ducks here. Everybody knows you gotta feed the ducks. This is fun. I got started a little bit later than I was hoping today, but that's okay. I think we're gonna be able to get to everything that we have planned. And remember, you can call into the show, okay? You can call into the show. You can talk to me. If you get the newsletter, which you should, go to canarycry.party. You'll see a newsletter sign up button. Click that. You'll just receive a message before every show. And it's got all sorts of fun stuff like art and show notes. And even more specifically, you can get the link that you can click on it. You'll be entered into the sort of waiting room on this show. And when it's time to take a call, we will take you first come, first serve. But I am popping the invite link into the chat. If you are in chat and you would like to take a couple minutes, chat with me, let me know what you think about everything going on the show and around the world. You can click on this link, just follow the instructions. And for those who, the computer is so glitchy today. This is so bad. It's like I can't, I'm in the VR headset and I have these little controllers that I gotta point and type with, and it's just bad. Okay, there you go. There's the link if anybody wants to come in and be on the show. Welcome back. There we go. Should we officially start the show now? I guess that's it. For my whole career, which has now been, it's hilarious. I sort of course, using the word career is a joke in itself. But in my long history of podcasting since 2012, I feel like it's a strength of ours that you find the format. You find the format. You figure out your opening line, your introduction, your catchphrases, and you just nail it. Coming into the show, you know exactly what you're doing. I currently am just resisting the temptation to really settle in on some opening, introductory phrases, introductory catchphrases, things to let you know the show has begun. But I'm kind of realizing I think I might need those things because, gets you have it memorized, you're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Blah, 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 blah. See, I can't even do it when I'm not doing the show. It's muscle memory. It's muscle memory. I got to start building some muscle memory for this show here. But you can see in the description of this podcast, we are talking about digging holes, folks. And it's kind of funny because if you're old school, if you are a old school member of the Basil verse, I get to call it the Basil verse here. Don't tell Gons I said that. You've heard me talking for a couple of years. I don't even know. I lost count of the years. Talking about a little old something called recreational hole digging. And I did not realize that I was mentioning this so often until somebody pointed it out to me. Folks, I don't think you, dear listeners, or you, dear producers, fully understand the weight, the importance of your feedback in all of its different forms. Because you know how it is. We're all just doing our job. We show up to work and we do what we do. It had not come to my attention that I was mentioning the topic of recreational hole digging as often as I was. And if you don't know, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, recreational hole digging is the act. It's also called hobby tunneling. It's the act of digging a hole just for fun, just to pass the time. And we'll be getting into a little bit of that because there's some very interesting stuff to talk about. But first, I promised you last episode, I promised a couple things. I promised to give you homework. Totally forgot about that. So I can kind of predict what today's homework might be. When was the last time you dug a hole as a hobby? I don't know. We'll find out. But I mentioned we'll together, as as my mind was boggled by reading a article that I brought to the show and I had read before. My mind exploded when I came across the phrase Noah's BOV. Here's a little meme. If nobody remembers exactly that, here you go. You got the lady with the math flying all around her head. Noah's BOV. Basil's very confused about what this is. And you remember it. Many of you knew it before I knew it. And I'm very proud of you. That's why you're in the right place. And this podcast is more for me to learn from y'all. That's why we take callers. Click on the link, join the waiting room. It's BOV. It was embarrassing. So embarrassing. I didn't know what it meant. Of course, I know it means bug out vehicle now, but live on the air. Who knew? Who knew? So we're going to be learning some of these terms together, folks. We're working on bunker culture. We're going to be, if not creating, at least learning a shared language about these things. And so, here's a couple that we learned together. We learned BOV, bug out vehicle, BOV. Oh, I should have made some little graphics. I'll do that next time. I'll make some fun little graphics so everybody can learn this by reading it as well on the YouTubes. BOV, bug out vehicle, the vehicle in which it is you will be using to bug out. Things go bad. Usually you want to have the less amount of electronics as possible. You want a real old reliable Betty, if you know what I mean. Get yourself an old Dodge Ram. Get yourself a whatever. Put some big tires on that sucker. Maybe a roll cage in case you want to do some stunts on the way out as society's crumbling around you. Something that'll look real cool as the bombs are going off behind you and you're, filming in slow motion as you escape the impending doom of everybody else. Bug out vehicle. We know that now. Noah's bug out vehicle, the Ark. Impressive. Now, one you should already know, but if you don't know, we're catching you up. No shame. No shame. We've got all sorts of levels of bunkaroos here. I, not being the most experienced bunkaroo, I'm learning from a lot of other people here. But B.O.B., Bob, B.O.B., bug out bag. We all know about bug out bag. I have decided that is a good place to start. If you've never prepped anything before, maybe you don't have the money to get a stockpile of food or ammunition, whatever it is, bug out bag. It's the easiest way to start prepping, exercising the conviction that you have that you are just not ready for anything. Bug out bag. It's just a bag that's got 72 hours worth of survival gear, and that's a key here. Bug out bag, 72 hours. You got a little bit of food. You have your regular or expected survival items in there. And someday we might do a bug out bag building party together. Who knows? It could be fun. One last one before we get to the real one, but we're just laying down the foundation, is BOL. BOL. That's bug out location, especially if you're somebody with a family. You guys work all over town. You got kids at the running around digging holes down at the quarry. You've got mom and dad working. This kind of stuff. You want your bug out location, your location where you will bug out to. Maybe it's your favorite camping spot. Make sure there's some water nearby, etc., etc. It's good to have a plan. You just gotta have a plan. Now, that brings me to another item, which I think I knew about in theory. It makes total sense once you hear it. Um, and this is the acronym GHB. GHB. What could that possibly mean? If you're in the chat, I'll give you 10 seconds. If you're in the chat and you know what GHB means in the prepper community, I'll give you a second to win a prize and impress everybody else on the show. So far, nobody's doing it. Okay, there she is. Mrs. Tinfoil Hat Man came in strong. It's called the Get Home Bag. You got your bug out bag. You got your get home bag. Because sometimes, some disasters, you're not necessarily, the goal is not to escape into the wilderness necessarily. You know, something's going on in town. You left all your cool stuff at home. Maybe you got kids. Maybe you got to get the cat. You got to have an ability to get to your home in a moment of need. Maybe your bug out vehicle is parked in the garage and you're out at work and you rode a bicycle to work. And well, a bicycle would be a great way to get home in an emergency situation. But the goal of the bug out bag is to leave and be able to disappear for 72 hours without relying on any more supplies until then. But the get home bag might even be most important. The most important thing, because you're out, you're walking around, you're doing your thing, something happens, you got to get home. I have this, let's see here, we'll be working off of this article here from survivalsullivan.com. Survival Sullivan. I kind of like his vibe here. Let's see if I can zoom in and get a little bit better of a look on the logo. I like the vibe of the logo. Some cool trendy colors, very simple, communicating I don't know, a little bit of the intensity of the prepper industry, but still very friendly. It was a friendly thing. How close can I get without crashing my computer? There you go, survivalsullivan.com. Not an endorsement, but I appreciate their knowledge base on the Get Home Bag. This here says the ultimate Get Home Bag, 42 items to pack, which is it's kind of a lot of items. Let's see what they have to say here. A Get Home Bag, or a GHB, is a cousin to a bug out bag. This is very important. This is another reason why I'd make some graphics, make some, what are they called, mind maps. We got to do a family tree of prepper materials. You got bug out bag and bug out bag's delightful cousin, Get Home Bag, where a BOB is designed to help get you away from home and hopefully to your bug out location. A GHB, Get Home Bag, is a bag designed to help you get home if disaster strikes while you're away from home. A Get Home Bag is a step forward in prepping to make sure you're covered in a wider array of disaster scenarios you might face. It's the next logical piece of kit to add to your EDC. We'll learn that one someday. And BOB. See, you got to know these acronyms to even read the articles about this stuff. This is what I'm saying, folks. We gotta open up, make this more accessible. It says here, here's the thing. We all have in our heads an idea of how things will happen. It's Sunday afternoon, and you're at home with your family watching another episode of your favorite show. All of a sudden, bam, an earthquake strikes. So you rush to get your bug out bag, load the car with as many additional supplies as you can, and get the heck out of there. But what are the odds of you actually being home when it happens? Not particularly high, unless you spend most of your time at home. Yeah, guilty. And what about your spouse and kids? They might be in school, and your spouse might be at work or running errands. So given the odds, then they put this part in bold. It makes perfect sense to talk about how to build a rock-solid get-home bag for you and each of your family members, which could assist you in all sorts of disastrous events, big and small, natural. Okay, we get it. All the things. Now, there's some, you might be thinking, what in the world is the difference between a bug-out bag and a get home bag. Well, bug out bag, you're loading up with water and food and supplies for 72 hours. The get home bag, the hope is you get home within a day. You might need to walk, you might need to catch a ride, you might need to wait underneath a city bus and hold on to it like in Speed, and do a tuck and roll when you're driving by your house or whatever. Maybe you need to travel through the sewage system. Maybe you befriend a flock of crows or ducks and they lift you up and you fly over the madness to get to your house. Either way, the get home bag is generally less stocked with the ongoing supplies, but stocked with travel related items. Travel related items. It says here a good GHB bag should ideally be small and lightweight. Remember, this isn't a full size bug out bag. Ideally, it shouldn't weigh more than 20 pounds, even less if we're talking about children's get home bags. My kids, they're going to be carrying 20 pounds. They can carry 20 pounds to school and back every day just in case an emergency starts happening. Blend in with the surroundings. This is an important one. We'll get to this. Blend in with the surroundings, work environment, the way you dress. Should also fit some of your EDC items. That's your everyday carry items. Otherwise, people will wonder why you carry it around with you and never open it. Look, we're not doing the whole show on get home bags, but some things to remember. Got to be small, lightweight. Got to blend in with the surroundings, work environment, the way you dress. And it should also fit some of your everyday carry items. Because if you're walking around with an extra bag and you never open it, maybe you have it handcuffed to your wrist, people are going to be very suspicious while you're carrying that tactical, pseudo-military looking scary bag around every day and you don't open it up for any reason. Interestingly enough, they recommend some get home bags just like a purse or a briefcase. If you're a businessman and you are in places where briefcases are normal, let's see, a bowling bag, a duffel bag, a gym bag, something that really blends in. And if somebody sees it in your car or sees you walking with it, they're not going to be like, I feel like I need to tell an authority figure that this person is being very suspicious with the bag. So, briefcase sounds fun to me. Now, I can't imagine a place where I would be where a briefcase would be appropriate for me to be carrying around. But they also, you could do messenger bags, bowling ball bags. That's very fun. That's probably the most blendy any option for me. You want to make it look like normal size, normal style. You're not getting your tactical bags. You're not getting bright colors. You're not, don't get a bright orange one that says, zombie apocalypse survival squad or something on it. So that's very important. And then, yes, you'll want to fit some of the things that you carry every day so you can be seen using the bag in a normal way. They suggest laptop bags, purse. You get the point. It's so sneaky, so camouflage. And, I do not have one of these. If you're out there and you have one of these, let me know. Yeah, Free Midwest says lunchbox. That's a good way to do it. G33 says, I call mine a walkaway kit. That's very good. Hopefully you're walking home in that case. Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman says, I usually leave mine in the car. And that was another aspect that they went through here, is it is something you're going to want to leave in the car. You're going to want to have access to it. But again, you don't want it to be, here's some no-nos they have here. You don't want it to be conspicuous. It says, no. Overtly tactical or military appearance, bright colors, loud patterns, designer or expensive packs. Yeah, you don't want to be carrying around your Coach bag, unless maybe you live in Southern California and it's very normal. But, carrying around luxury items is a good way to gain the attention of somebody who would like to have your stuff. And then it says, don't make it too large. Totally normal. Totally normal. And they give some recommendations here. So there you go. Maybe we can dive deeper into get home bags. This one was new for me. I cannot believe it. But again, that's what this is for. That's what this is for me, folks. I don't know what you think about this show, but the point is, this show is for me. Give me a reason to dive in deeper and figure this stuff out. GHB. Get home bag. Get yours today. Maybe that's if somebody out there is if anybody's planning on calling in today. Remember, if you're on the email list, you can click the button on the newsletter that went out. I should start putting the invite link in the text message. That would probably be the most reasonable way to get people the invite link. But just in case, I will go ahead. I'm going to stick it into the chat. No, I'm not. Every once in a while here, just because, new people show up and they don't need to scroll a dozen pages to go find it. Okay, there you go. Get home bag, GHB, commit it to memory. There will be a test. Now, moving on here. Producer of the show, somebody who's very helpful sending in emails and comments and stuff, and also, sending in some very helpful sort of research materials based on the things that they make suggestions about. Remember, this is how to do it, folks. If you have a suggestion for the show, I'm very happy. I'm so excited to have all your suggestions. But it also helps to, give some examples, send some links, put your thoughts in there. Because if you're going to produce the show, you might as well produce the show, producers got to take that seriously. But Trash Man, thank you very much. Trash Man was actually the one who reminded me about the fact that I talk about recreational digging so often. Of course, it was silly. Of course, it's a silly thing. But there is something so primal. And here's the thing. I'm not here to make any comments about, the battle of the sexes or anything. But generally, it's accepted that there's something in the DNA of men that sometimes, even if they do not act on the impulse, even if they are not participating in recreational hole digging, they are thinking about it. They are thinking about digging holes. And even if they're not thinking about it directly, there is something in the subconscious, something in their very DNA that, if not specifically saying, gotta dig a hole, they are being led towards digging holes on a daily basis. Ask your man, ladies. Try to be cool about it, okay? Don't come at this with an attitude. Don't come at this that your man is going to be very vulnerable. What you want is to create a safe place for your guy to feel safe enough to be vulnerable, to talk about his endless urge to dig holes. And, the holes can be dug in lots of different ways or places or reasons, but there's something very powerful about the idea of digging holes. And ladies, I'm not saying you can't dig holes either. Equal opportunity hobby there, recreational hole digging. But I truly think that there is something so deep in the heart of man that digging holes. And I'm not the only one to notice this. In fact, recently there was some very interesting news reports about this. Now, this was a couple years ago. Many of you, some of you, I don't know how many of you, may remember this article from Vice News. Yes, Vice.com, the now non-existent news agency, or they went bankrupt and they fired everybody. I don't know, They do still have their website up, which is very nice of them. The archives, one thing that I think is interesting is I'm not seeing any advertisements. So, yep, I do see an advertisement. Okay, well, I don't know what they're doing, but they are defunct. Vice News, This is why we can't lose Vice, folks, because the headline here, The Return of an Ancient Hobby, Digging Holes. This was written by Andrew Lloyd in August 18th, 2022. And it goes like this. In the classic 90s novel Holes, a bunch of young offenders are forced to dig up the Texas desert as a seemingly pointless punishment. A terrible approach to juvenile correction because, it turns out, boys love nothing more. Scroll through the hashtag digging a hole, which has over 11.9 million views on TikTok, and you'll spot two common themes: canines kicking up dirt and scores of men all over the globe. Okay, I see how that's how they get you, globe heads. Carving so deep into the ground, you'd think they're trying to high-five each other at the center of the earth. This has become such an issue as of late, it's inspired multiple appeals from wary girlfriends who have found their loved ones covered in mud. You may remember the guy who went viral when his partner discovered he'd spent a year creating an underground kingdom. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. Oh, I got the space. I could dig my own underground kingdom. A recent tweet inviting fellas to confess their dirt digging desires was a further reminder of this common hobby. So why are men such serial soil shifters? And I'll just give you a little bit more of this just because it's kind of funny. Adam Ceramic, a 38-year-old potter. What? His name is Adam Ceramic, and he is a potter. Fake. Not real. Where is this guy? Brighton? What's that, in the UK? Do they still name people like that in the UK? You used to come to the US through Ellis Island, and they're like, oh, what's your name? Well, it's, something very foreign sounding. They go, we're just going to call you Taylor. Can you make clothes? Okay, you're a tailor. This guy's name is Adam Ceramic, and he's a 38-year-old potter. Very suspicious. From Brighton. Reckons he's removed over 1,500 bags of soil from his garden that he's dug up over the years. Quote, when I get the urge to dig, it genuinely is like an impulse or instinct. Am I right, boys? He says, I went out to fix our shed door once, and then I found I had dismantled the shed and begun leveling the garden. I get it. Another day, Ceramic popped outside to take care of an unwanted bramble, but got distracted by some rubble on the ground. His partner found him hours later in a 6-foot hole. I mean, who hasn't gotten distracted by digging a hole once in a while? Here's a quote. It is something primordial within us all that connects us back to a time without technology. He says of digging into the earth, it beckons me outside once a year to reconnect and recharge. According to Dr. Jacob Hirsch, an associate professor at the University of Toronto who has published research on gender differences in personality, it's a very dangerous thing. He's in Toronto, too. A Canadian writing about how the genders are different? This man better watch out. There may be a specific reason boys are more drawn towards disturbing the earth. There's a little bit of very interesting NLP there. There's interesting choice of words. Words create reality, create worldviews, create beliefs. Saying these men, these masculine men, have an urge or an impulse to disturb the earth. Am I right, ladies? Quote, using one's strength to achieve a personal challenge could be rewarding for anybody, but the idea of a strong individual who can gain mastery over their environment is particularly congruent with masculine gender norms, he says. This is interesting. It's interesting that they're throwing this spin on it, but notice the words being used. It's very, you're disturbing the earth, you're mastering over environment, very sort of, intense here, very self-focused, focused on oneself.
Quote, engaging in physical activities that enhance this sense of strength, mastery, and independence could thus be appealing to men in particular because it reinforces their sense of manhood. Something about a man working in the land with a shovel appeals to the basic sense of rugged male individualism, a feeling that can be fleeting in our own modern lifestyles. You're telling me. As far as the president of Whole Sock, it's called Whole Sock, Whole Society is what it's called, Whole Sock, is concerned, the draw of digging is in the simplicity. Quote, I've talked to other people who come to our events and we all agree there's something awfully therapeutic about it. Charlie Moan, a 20-year-old maths and physics student at the University of St. Andrews, set up the society dedicated to aimless digging back in October 2021. Started as a half joke. He'd been away on holiday to Gran Canaria. What is this? Gran Canaria. With the lads, where they spent their time creating a giant hole on the beach for no particular reason. They decided they wanted to continue the fun when they returned. So Moan made an official club for digging enthusiasts. And I mean, what's more 2022 or 2021 than creating an Instagram account focused on, people getting together. They've been quarantined. They've been quarantined for a year or two. They're losing their minds, and they're lonely. They've lost touch with the world and everyone around them. And there's really nothing better than getting together with like 30 other people and all working together to dig a hole that I think inevitably these holes turned into some sort of public nuisance. But it's besides the point. They're disturbing the earth. Although the activity started with a group of guys, Moan says the turnout has an even mix between men and women. An even mix! Sure. Quote, you tend to find that a lot of the girls initially can be sort of apprehensive about it, he says. But they seem to be the ones who enjoy it the most when they actually get into it. It doesn't seem, at least to me, that any men get more enjoy out of it than women do. This is a weird sentence, but okay. So there you go, ladies. Look, anybody out there in a romantic relationship, you got a girlfriend, you got a wife, talking to you fellas, or vice versa, what could be better than digging a hole with your spouse? What could be better? You wake up, you got to pray together because, of course, you're 1,000 times less likely to get divorced if you pray together. You wake up in the morning, you share a cup of coffee, you read your Bible, you pray together, then you head on outside to start digging a hole with your lady. I mean, it really sounds. Talk to your spouse about this, wives out there or girlfriends or whatever. Talk to your man. Learn. This is no longer a prepping podcast. This podcast is now a relationship advice podcast, which of course it is. Why would it not be? We're finding all sorts of new ways to appreciate what God is doing with the concept of prepping for disasters. I will say the family who preps together stays together. That's just a fact of life. There's also, okay, all right. Yeah, we're just going to do an episode on how prepping helps relationships now. So if anybody out there taking notes, don't let me forget. What should I call this? Prep. Oh my gosh, this computer. Where am I? Prep together. Stay together. There you go. All right, folks. We're gonna have a good time. Maybe that'll be number 7. Got to do some studying. Hey, men and women out there, husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, send me an email at canarycryradio@gmail.com. Give me your thoughts on the relationship benefits of prepping, perhaps even building, digging a hole, whatever it is. I believe in you. We got to hear from the producers on this one. Let's go. All right, just a second here. Going to take a quick little pause. Going to check. Okay, nobody's in the waiting room. Yeah, something about today. Maybe it was the time
that I went. Maybe there is something wrong. I don't know. A little light today on the live viewer. That's okay. One thing I have loved seeing is, usually when we post a random thing on the RSS feed or a video on the channel, and it's not officially a Canary Cry News Talk, it's really a hit and miss. It's usually pretty significantly less viewers because they come for CCNT. They don't come for Basil's Bunker or Gonz's Twitter Spaces or something like that. But I have been pretty satisfied. The numbers on these Basil's Bunker episodes have been very impressive. And it's all because of you, dear listener, dear viewer. You're keeping this show alive by being here. You're keeping the show alive by, all the things you do. Let's see. Katie Ann at Ozark Hollow Homestead says, want to dig a hole with me when you get home, Ike? That's right. Sir Ike is here. Ms. Tinfoil Hat Man. Sir Ike's wonderful bride. And that's what I'm going to do. That's the homework for Sir Ike and Ms. Tinfoil Hat Man. Go ahead. Go dig a hole. Go dig a hole together. Let me know. Let me know if it improves anything or not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a bad idea for men and women to dig holes together. Maybe I shouldn't be taking this, relationship advice from Vice.com. Maybe they're trying to sabotage the nuclear family unit, the traditional family structure, by getting these men and women to dig holes together and sabotaging the American way. But let me know, Sir Ike. And let's see here. Sir Ike says, no holes unless it's with leftover fireworks. Yeah, you really can dig a hole however you want. You don't need to use shovels. But you could use explosives, dynamite, if you, of course, do it legally and with proper supervision. Kids, don't play with dynamite unless you get permission from your parents, and parents, that's up to you. Okay, we're going to start learning a little bit more about holes. Oh, I see we got Trash Man in the waiting room here. So we'll talk to Trash Man in a second. Let's see. The next place I was going to go. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just touch on this next source, Trash Man, and then we're going to bring you in and we can talk. Because this next source is hilarious. Look, I, of course, being a skeptical individual as I am, I think I just uncovered I may have just uncovered a sinister plan by Vice News to try to cause relationship problems in the nuclear family unit. But here's the thing, folks. I think we know. What is the establishment structure? What do the powers that be, what do the lizard people in Washington think about hobby holing or hobby tunneling or recreational digging? Obviously, they don't like it. There's people get in a lot of trouble for digging holes. The group that we just read about on Vice, there's a video of them digging the hole and the cops are standing there making them fill it back in. The man doesn't want you to dig, folks. We know this. And that is no more exemplified by the Wikipedia page. Now, Wikipedia, this shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, but just in case there's somebody new, Wikipedia, obviously not only an establishment enterprise, it is not a encyclopedia by the people for the people like it claims, but of course has whole rooms filled with data entry workers at the U.S. intelligence agencies who, control the world, the information landscape by taking over sources like Wikipedia. Very close ties with U.S. intelligence services and Wikipedia. This is known. I'm not saying anything new. Anybody doesn't know. So let's find out what Wikipedia has to say about what they call hobby tunneling. Listen to this and tell me if you think what you think the government wants us to know about recreational hole digging. Hobby tunneling is tunnel construction as a pastime. Usually,
Hobby tunnelers dig their tunnels by hand, using little equipment, and some can spend years or even decades to achieve any degree of completion. In some cases, tunnels have been dug secretly and only discovered by chance. Ooh, okay. So if you're a hobby tunneler, you're a secret criminal, some sort of secret pervert making a hole in the ground to hide away your sins. That's what the CIA is saying here. The next section is called motivations. Motivations. A tunnel is an underground passageway dug through the surrounding soil or rock for the purpose of transport, passage, or communication. Tunnel construction is a sub-discipline of civil engineering, and usually the domain of engineers and construction companies. Right there. Hey, don't dig a tunnel unless you're an accredited expert. We worship the experts nowadays. The common man cannot dig his own hole. You must have a advanced degree or a big construction company. You got to have those federal federal grants, federal contracts in order to dig holes. When civilians dig tunnels, listen up, civilians. This is what they're trying to say about you if you dig tunnels. When civilians dig tunnels, it may be for criminal purposes, like smuggling or hiding illegal goods or gaining unauthorized access to an area. People may also build escape tunnels, such as those under the Berlin Wall. What? Listen to the set of information here is don't dig a tunnel unless you went to college for digging tunnels. If you're a civilian and you're digging tunnels, you're either a criminal or you're digging under a wall, such as those under the Berlin. You're escaping. What are you escaping? The government doesn't want you to escape. Don't dig tunnels. Tunneling may be part of the building of underground dwellings. Subterranean construction may be done as an art form, as in the work of Ra Paulet, Dutch graphic designer Leon Wijimza, digs short, shallow tunnels as an art form and for fun. She had dug 13 by 2015 at 3 cultural festivals. You know, I can get on board with that. Actually, all of us men should get on board with that. If we're found digging, if we've been digging in secret and somebody finds it, just say it's art. It's art. Then it goes into the hobby tunneling that we mentioned in the Vice article, and they give some good examples. But right there at the top, CIA information outlet Wikipedia saying if you're a civilian, leave it to the experts, and if you don't, it's criminal purposes like smuggling or hiding illegal goods or trying to escape. We can't have you escaping. Okay, with that in mind, let's bring Trash Man on the show. Not for nothing. I don't want to finish up the whole the whole section because Trash Man was the one who brought this to my attention. So Trash Man, prepare yourself. I am going to bring you onto the show here. Let's see if this works. Hello, Trash Man. You're on the air.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, buddy. You sound great.
Awesome. I'm loving the show. This is all just right up my alley. I've
Yeah,
been a prepper since I was just a little kid.
That's what I like to hear, dude. Did you grow up? Was this a influence from your parents or your family, or did you just have the instinct?
Well, a lot of instinct, but also Dad being in the military for so long, and military people are semi-paranoid. I picked up a lot of things.
Yes. Wow, you were born, bred, and trained to prepare for the worst.
Absolutely. I since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a hermit in the woods.
There's something, that's a very rebellious act, man. Because, you ask kids what they want to be. It's policeman, firefighter, astronaut, the usual suspects. But, there's some ancient wisdom in the child who says, I want to live out in the woods, Mother. I do not wish to be bound by work of this system. I wish to live with God and his creatures, relying on him alone. That's like some St. Francis style stuff, dude. I like that. So you were the one. You were the one who brought this to my attention, the recreational hole digging. And here we are. It's happening. You've participated in a real tangible way. And anybody who's having fun on this episode, they have you to thank. And if they're not having fun on this episode, they have me to thank. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. I love being in a part of it.
I love you being a part of it. Here's a question. Have you ever, tell me about your hole digging history.
So when I was about 7, thereabouts, I played outside. We live out in the country, so we only had antenna for TV, but I wasn't allowed in the house during the day because that's when you're supposed to be out playing.
Uh-huh.
And you had to figure out things to do on your own. So I picked up a shovel and just started digging and went as deep as I could. And I could fit inside that thing. And I put a board on top. I was like, oh, this is pretty neat.
Ooh.
So I kept doing it. And then Dad tripped in a hole. And I got in trouble for being
oh my
a
gosh.
Viet Cong, building spider holes all over the yard. And so he got a load of dirt and I had to fill them all up. But I was allowed to dig in that pile of dirt as much as I want. And it was like a little ant's den that I could fit around and just be in my little tunnel cave thing.
Yes, bro. Now, I don't know much about your family, your father, or anything like that, but I will say, I think that's the move. If you're an adult and you're worried about falling into a Viet Cong style spider trap that your kid has dug out there, you got a big pile of dirt, do it the best you can. Maybe teach your kid how to build some supports or something so they don't get trapped. But look, getting trapped under a collapsed tunnel as a kid is a character building exercise.
Yes. Yeah, you learn very soon off that the structure you built is not sturdy.
Self-reliance, responsibility, problem solving. I mean, these are all the things our kids these days are not getting taught. And letting the kids dig holes, I think it would change a generation. The country would change in one generation.
Well, in general, letting the kids do stuff.
Yeah.
I was shown or told, you need to do this, and I was left to it. I wasn't shown necessarily how to do it, but told what to do, and then left to my own devices.
Yep.
So in turn, you learn what to do and what not to do. Nowadays, everything's a YouTube video away, showing you how to do it, but not learning on your own.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's the mistake because of course, a parent's whole life is directed at keeping their kids safe, and nobody can blame a parent for wanting to make sure a kid doesn't get suffocated with a tunnel collapsing on them, of course. But it's also a lesson in, like you said, problem solving, self-reliance, things like this, which is what, of course, as we know now, the kids are losing. These Gen Alphas, man, and their funky words is not looking good for the future of humanity.
It's not, but this is also like the Israelites in the wilderness.
Yep.
God will call the weak.
Yeah, that's a great point. It will do nothing but bring all glory to our Father in heaven if these younger generations are able to pull the nose up on this plane. There will be no excuse to not give God all the glory for that. And it's not too late. These kids can start digging holes. They can start repairing their sort of damaged self-confidence from stuff today.
And I live in an urban environment. small, medium-sized city, and in my neighborhood, it's a pretty poor neighborhood,
Mm,
and you see all the kids playing outside.
yeah.
You go over to the other side of town where everyone has internet and video games, and you never see kids playing outside.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, there's going to be that generational cycle or that sort of class cycle. Nobody can deny that we are headed for some pretty tough times. And it's the kids who are out there digging holes, learning how to dig themselves out of the hole, that are going to be our biggest asset here in the future. I love it, man. The Now, what came to your mind? What had you encouraged or inspired to mention the fact that I talk about recreational hole digging all the time, and that there might be some potential for the show here?
Well, Jacob's Well is the
Ah,
first thing that came to mind.
right, right. Let's see. What is that? Is that Kings or is
Uh,
that Exodus? That's
well,
Exodus, right?
Jacob's Well is only mentioned in the New Testament when Jesus is talking to Mary Magdalene or
Oh, right.
the woman at the well. But
Yes.
in Genesis 26, Isaac had his servants dig several wells. When I think in my mind, I kind of lumped up Jacob with them because Jacob's Isaac's son. And they dug two wells and there was still fighting. And finally, after the third well was dug, there was enough water and there was no fighting in the land anymore about the water. And
Yes.
Jacob goes off because he's running from Esau. And Rebecca, her her family's over there, and he's waiting on the well with the other guys, and they're like, "We got to have enough guys here to move the stone." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And here comes Rebecca, and he moves the stone all by himself. And in order to get that strong, you've got to do a lot of physical labor. And
Right.
Jacob's well was at least 75 to 100 foot deep, and that's a lot of digging.
That is a lot of digging. I think people underestimate the amount of dirt that comes out of even the smallest hole.
Yes.
Sorry, let's see here. There we go. Yeah, no, I mean it's you sent me that story actually, and that sent me on a just like a tour of digging holes in the Bible, which I will get to a little bit later on. But you'd think, when I'm talking about the idea that there is something inside our nature that at least men are constantly thinking about digging holes, or at least imagining the benefits that a fresh new hole out in the backyard could bring to their lives. The Bible doesn't not say nothing about that. Obviously, digging holes, like you said, I'm sorry, digging wells, like you said, it's just like obviously one of the most instinctual things, especially with the, Israelites in the desert. It's a desert. You get your water from a well. How do you get a well? You got to dig it. You know, Nowadays, maybe regular depth well. I mean, every well is different, but if you're off the grid like I am, your well might go down 60 to 300 feet or something. And digging that by hand is the most supernaturally inspired thing you can possibly do. You get 6 feet down in a hole, and God has to take over from there, basically, because that is way too much work for an average person to do.
Oh yeah, it takes a team.
I'm sorry, I was just going through some of the other verses that I had here, seeing exactly how I want to do that. But here's a question for you. It's obviously cannot be ignored that digging holes directly related to the classic idea of a bunker, underground bomb shelter type thing, but also, root cellars. People do sunken, what are they called? Uh, greenhouses. Yeah, outhouse. I mean, it's like, what would humanity be, and who would we be individually if digging into the earth was not a near constant impulse by people trying to solve problems. So many problems can be solved by digging a hole, man.
Absolutely.
Do you have a plan for it? What's the hole you're dreaming about right now?
Oh, right now, my only dream is to get out of the city,
Yes. Yes.
but then it
Yeah.
would be a root cellar for sure.
Well, maybe you can dig an escape tunnel out of your city.
Yeah.
That's another crazy part about digging that kind of, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but you talk about the authority figures, the establishment, the man doesn't want us digging holes. That is obvious by the language that they use in their information outlets. But of course, especially in a city, you know, you're not allowed to dig a hole anywhere without getting the government's approval. Of course, you got to call, what is it, 411, see where the water lines are, see where the electrical lines are. That's all very important. I'm not saying that we should all be digging willy nilly when there's high voltage lines under the ground. Uh, but the fact that digging a hole, which is like such a basic, it seems like a basic human right. Like,
Yeah.
it is within our DNA. It is how we have survived for so long. And the fact that, the establishment is trying to regulate digging holes, I understand the practicalities, but sort of philosophically, it's just, I mean, I laugh because it's hilarious, because they're trying to regulate everything, trying to keep us from doing anything we want to do. Even digging holes are God-given right.
Well, here where I live, they recently passed legislation that you have to get a permit for chickens, and they have to come take a look at your
Yep.
place, map it all out. Because a couple years ago, it was illegal in town to have chickens, and I had chickens,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't eat the rooster in time, so my neighbor called me in,
Uh-huh.
and they were going to fine me $300 a day.
Oh my gosh. That's
And
so
so
much.
yeah. So I packed them up and gave them to my mom. She still lives out in the country. So now
Mhm.
I get her eggs.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's like your inheritance, man. If you got a supply of eggs from your mom now, that might as well be, cash in the bank.
Oh, you know it. I've got some salted eggs going. Right now I've just got through boiling up some eggs. I'm going to try to ferment pickle them.
Ooh, doggy.
I haven't tried the water glassing yet, but I haven't found the lime that I need.
Yeah. Oh, we'll definitely be doing an episode on eggs. I mean, eggs, if you can dig a hole and you have some eggs, you don't need anything else in life, really, to survive. Eggs and digging holes. Well, thanks so much for calling in, Trash Man. Was there anything else you wanted to chat before we keep going?
Well, you kind of hit on. I was thinking about like you're talking about the get home bag. I
Yes,
I,
yes.
I wear a jacket at work. And do you ever
Uh-huh.
watch Columbo?
Watch what now?
Columbo?
No.
Okay. He's a lot like the real life Inspector Gadget, except not
Uh-huh.
so flippy.
Yeah,
And
right.
but they carry everything they need at all times in their pockets on them. So instead of like a purse, you could be wearing a jacket.
Right, right. Yeah, put a bunch of pockets in there, a bunch of secret little things. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean that was one of the interesting things about the get home bag was like, oh my gosh, am I supposed to carry this every single day? That's quite the chore. But you build it right into your your outfit. But just some custom jobs, some custom pockets and things, and you're just prepared for everything.
yeah.
I like it. I like it. Maybe that's your calling. That's what can get you out of the city. You start making jackets where you can, put a shovel in the sleeve. You got your your water filtration system coming out the back. When somebody figures that out, that's going to change everything. They won't be able to keep anybody in the city.
Right. And one last thing before I go. When you're
Okay.
trying to get out, remember the railroad tracks.
Ah, very good tip. Yeah, that'll at least if you're lost and you got nowhere to go, the railroad tracks will take you somewhere.
Right. And you won't be wandering around absolutely lost.
Very
You'll have a
smart. Good tips, Trash Man. I really appreciate calling in, buddy. I really appreciate your feedback and your producing of the show. Means a lot. And yeah, this episode is devoted to you there, Trash Man. Thank you very much.
well, thank you for all that you do. You're
You,
helping a lot of us out.
oh, well, thank you so much. I hope to talk to you again soon.
You too. See you.
Bye. Bye-bye. Well, there you go, folks. Look at that. Trash Man, the man himself, catching up with the because he mentions the biblical references to holes. Folks, there's a lot of holes in the Bible. And I'm not going to lie to you. They're not all good. They're not all godly holes. There's definitely a mix. I mean, like it should be. It's contextual, like anything in the Bible. Context is everything. The context of the biblical hole being dug is very important. But there's some lessons. So let's just look at this. We'll just learn some lessons real quick about digging holes from the Bible. This one, oh, no, let me go like this. Let's go over to 2 Kings. Do I have that one open? Nope, I was not as prepared as I thought that I would be. Opening that, changing it over to, oh man, the glitchiest computer in the universe. Oh, please, dear Lord in heaven, be my strength. Help me move this. No. Okay. Well, everybody pray. Everybody bow your heads in prayer for me right now as I move this tab over to somewhere where I can use it so I can show it to you guys. Here we go. I did it. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I'll give you this here. We're still got the working on it. It's the training wheels doing solo shows. 2 Kings 3:16 through 19. He said then, God's word. This is God's word. Dig ditches all over this valley. Here's what will happen. You won't hear the wind. You won't see the rain. But this valley is going to fill up with water, and your army and your animals will drink their fill. This is easy for God to do. He will also hand over Moab to you. You will ravage the country, knock out its fortifications, level the key villages, clear out the orchards, clog the springs, and litter the cultivated fields with stones. So we have here God's word saying, dig ditches. Just dig as many ditches as you possibly can. Just keep digging all over this valley because they were filled with water. And this is not just for nothing. I mean, this was, let's see here. I want to get the details right. I read through it before. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we're talking about Elijah and Elisha. We're talking about Jericho and the drought. The army is very thirsty, very, very thirsty. It's not looking good. Like a lot of Old Testament situations. A lot of Old Testament situations. It was not looking good. Things were looking a little sketchy. And in those times, as we all know, God is the only thing that can give us the victory we need. And it often does not look the way we would expect it to look. And if God tells you to start digging ditches all over the valley, for what? Just to hold the water, to hold his blessings. If he's going to make it rain, if he's going to give you the water and things you need, you got to make some room for him. You got to dig some holes to catch the blessings God's given you. What's really funny is, let me jump over. Oh, this is a good one for Trash Man. Okay, so everybody turn your Bibles to Exodus 21:33. It says, if a man opens a pit or digs a pit and does not cover over it, an ox or a donkey falls into it. And this, of course, is talking about the sort of laws of the land being laid down. It says, the owner of the pit shall make restitution. He shall give money to its owner, and the dead animal shall become his. This is, one of the things about Exodus was this was God sort of setting up society. He was setting up the ancient Israeli society at this point, the ancient Hebrews. And there's, rules and suggestions and laws and stuff being laid down in this area. And right there, the law of the land, if you dig a pit and you don't cover it, you are liable for what falls into the hole. This is very important. This is modern day prophecy. If you're going to dig a hole, cover the hole. Don't let somebody fall into it. Thank you very much. Exodus 21:33. Coincidence? I think not. But it's not just the Old Testament. You know who is really obsessed with holes? Matthew. Matthew is responsible for like half of all the mentions of holes in the Bible. Several places. We'll start with Matthew 12:11. And he said unto them, what man is there among you who has a sheep, and if it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will he not take hold of it and lift it out? I mean, this is a very important lesson on the Sabbath, the day of rest. If your sheep or your ox falls into a hole, you get it out. You get it out of the hole. Matthew 25, 18. This was the parable of the talents. Been hearing this one a lot. Did I don't know. I've been really coming in contact with the parable of the talents a lot lately. For those who don't know, a master had given 10 talents to one servant, 5 to another, and 1 talent to a third. And the first servant invested and doubled the money, and the master was very happy. The second servant made another investment or bought and sold goods, and he made some money, and the master was very happy. But the third servant, he was scared. He only had 1 talent. Talent's money. 1 talent, and he was afraid. He knew his master was a tough businessman. He didn't want to lose it, so he buried it in the ground. When the master came home, he was not happy. In some version of the stories, he became a little violent. But this hole that this servant hid his treasures in, hid his master's treasures in, was actually a reason for him to be punished. Because, you can bury stuff in holes. You can use it to protect stuff. I mean, don't even get me on, pirates' booty, pirates' treasure, the obsession that men have had for thousands of years, finding hidden treasures underneath the ground. But when God gives you something, you don't want to bury it. That's something to remember for all of us, I think. We also have, let's see here. Oh, yeah. Matthew 15:14, which unfortunately I don't have on the screen. Let them alone. They are blind guides of the blind. And if a blind man guides a blind man, both will fall into a pit. Look, we know what happens if you dig a hole, don't cover it, and your ox or your sheep or somebody else's animal falls in it. You're liable for that. But it sounds like, in this case, if you didn't cover your pit and a blind guy leads another blind guy fall in the pit, I do not know who's liable there, but it does not seem like a very important thing. Like a very easy legal challenge. So cover your holes, people. If you're gonna dig a hole, make sure to cover it. We learned that from Trash Man. We learned that from Matthew. Even Wikipedia said most holes are secret and are only found. It's because the Bible's telling people to cover up all these holes that they're digging. Let me jump back over to my notes here. This is really getting me going. I think I might need to go start digging holes. I got all sorts of fun stuff. I don't have time. Who's got the time, guys? Who's got the time? Well, I'll tell you what. I dig myself into a lot of holes on this podcast. I'll tell you what. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Okay. We're gonna take one more caller here. We're gonna talk to Psalm 40. Then I'm gonna show you the shovel that I want for my birthday, because that's very important. Of course, we're not gonna talk about digging holes without getting some useful information on the best shovels in the world in 2024. Um, Sir Tristan out of the garden says, I just popped in and I hear Basil yelling, cover your holes. That's a good thing. You know, we just got, okay, I'm not going to go there, but you get it. It's a good idea. It's a good idea, top to bottom. Okay, let's talk to Psalm 40 here. And then we'll start landing this plane. Let's see if this works. Get ready, Psalm 40. Psalm 40, you are live. Uh-oh.
Hello, what's up?
Sounds like he's... Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Am I super far away?
Oh, yeah, it sound really, really far away.
Okay. How about now?
Hey, if you're in the chat, folks, say something. Say something. I don't know exactly what Psalm 40 uh, listens like, what sounds like to you, but you're very far away. I think Psalm 40. Can you get up closer?
How about now?
Oh, a little better.
Now?
Little better.
Okay,
Okay,
hold
there
on.
you
We're
are.
getting there.
Yeah, no worries.
Is
You
that it?
sound good now, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good.
You're super low now. I had you hooked up to
Oh
my
boy.
Bluetooth, and I could hear you
Ah.
perfectly, but you were telling me that I was far away. And now that we're off the
Oh yeah.
Bluetooth, you can hear me, but you're far away.
Oh boy. Oh
Okay,
boy.
I think I can make it work, though. I don't know. I kind of just jumped in the middle here. I don't really even know what we're talking about. I heard shovels, though, so
Oh, we're
I got
we're
some
talking.
advice on shovels.
All right, tell me, what are your thoughts on shovels?
Um, well, I was in the military, so we got to play with all kinds of cool, stuff, shovels included, and I learned of the E tool there. Are you familiar with an E tool?
E-tool. I'm not familiar with the name, but I might be familiar with it. Why don't you tell me about it?
It's basically just a fold-up shovel, serrated shovel, so like kind of like a Swiss Army knife, but it's
Yes.
actually a shovel and like a hatchet, and they usually have like a flint or a compass on there.
Oh
Like,
yes.
yeah, yeah. So an E tool, that's typically what they're called. That's a pretty nice shovel.
Okay. Yeah, I did start looking around on some shovel. You know, when I start working on a show like this, I go down so many rabbit holes, and I definitely picked out my dream prepper shovel that I'll be sharing with everybody. What's your relationship with digging holes, Psalm 40?
Recently, not really very much.
Okay.
I, I, when I was younger, my stepfather, he would buy properties, like rundown properties, and we would fix them up. And there was a lot of trees that I used to have to dig out.
Ooh, that's a doozy.
Um, and then other than that, I guess it was just the last time I dug a hole was probably in the military.
Yeah, I bet they have you digging holes all the time. What do they have you digging? Foxholes or burn pits or something?
Yeah, trenches, just yeah, foxholes basically. Or I was stationed in Alaska,
Ooh.
so we had like a cold weather training thing that we had to do up there, and we would have to actually dig out like where we would sleep. If you had
Yes.
to sleep without any cover in like the cold environment, we would dig little graves for ourselves, basically.
Yes, bro. Actually, thank you for bringing that up because I forgot to tell this story earlier in the episode. But I grew up in a place that had very harsh winters, and they would teach kids in elementary school. It was just like a thing that every kid knew was how to survive if they get lost in the forest in a blizzard or whatever.
That's
And
good. Wish we had it now.
yeah, buddy. I know it's amazing. Like I didn't really think about it at the time, but I'm like, what an incredible that's like I mean, that's so American. You got to teach your kids how to
Right?
survive in elementary school. It's the most helpful thing. And my sort of most I mean, I remember digging, there'd be a big pile of snow from the street plow, piling it up in the neighborhood. And kids, we would just go out to that giant snow pile and we'd all dig our own little hole. And you dig yourself a hole and you pack yourself in there. it can be like 70 degrees in there. You
Oh
can
yeah,
survive for a long time.
yeah,
Super warm.
yeah. And we were actually told to go into the earth, like not build
Oh
an
yeah.
igloo, but like dig down into through the snow to the ground, and then dig into the earth a few feet because it's actually
Hmm.
warmer there.
Yeah. What do you think is I mean, for me, when I would dig my snow hole recreationally, just kid alone outside, take a shovel, dig a hole in the snow pile, and just go in there and just sit there, and you feel, I felt so safe. I maybe
Yeah,
felt safe for the first time in my life. I
yeah,
felt
yeah.
warm, and the one
There's a
thing
sense
that
of accomplishment.
you got the sense of accomplishment, and one thing that really did wonders for me, and I still can, like, if I close my eyes and I transport myself back to my snow holes and me sitting in there alone and it's warm, and the sound, like the quietness, and not
Yeah,
just the quietness, but at least in snow, and I'm sure it's similar in other holes, like it's a sound dampening. It's like you're hearing
yeah,
less than no sound. And I
yeah,
just remember loving that, just sitting there like with my eyes closed, just taking a nap in a hole, man.
yeah. Wow, that's very insightful.
I think there's
You like
some.
had
I
a
think
spiritual moment there.
that might be the thing in the DNA of men, where they want to dig a hole, they want to
Yeah,
get some peace and quiet, and
exactly.
be
Yeah,
only
that's
where God can speak to them.
right. That's literally what I was thinking. The quiet place. I
Yeah.
um, I didn't really. I mean, I grew up near Philadelphia, so like it gets cold and we get snow and all that, but I wouldn't say it's particularly harsh. But I had my own little hangout, like kind of what you're talking about, but it was in the woods. Like we had a little
Ooh,
patch in
yeah.
the woods that there was like just thin vines and like thin trees that we were able to bend down and make like
Ooh.
a teepee out of the trees that we had bent down in a little spot in the woods. So that was my quiet place as a kid.
Yes. Yes, bro. I love that. I mean, it's, yeah. I mean, that's where else can you just rely on the Lord speaking to you than under the ground or under the snow or in the woods with nothing, nobody else? I'm really thinking that evolutionarily, or not evolutionarily, what is it called? Uh uh developmentally. Developmentally, when a kid figures out that he can go to a quiet place and just enjoy sitting there. I mean, kids are weird, man. In a way, when I look back, I mean, I kind of have the thought, and it's half joking, but not all joking. You know, the fact that kids are still developing, they are like literally mentally underdeveloped. And with,
Yeah,
I mean, the problems.
they're in process.
Yeah, and the problem with what's going on today is so funny. Every time a caller calls in, I start talking about the kids these days. But the
Yeah,
silence, there is no silence. The silence is filled. And, you know, you spend too much time as a kid filling the silence every chance you get. I mean, that's what they did in like MK Ultra and mind control and like
hmm,
driving people crazy by never allowing them to have a moment of silence. I think all kids need to be required to dig a hole and just stay in there for a
yeah.
while.
Well, I have a 9-year-old son, and he never wants to be alone, whether it's
Mm,
with friends or with me or his mother. He doesn't do the quiet thing. He can't even sit through a movie.
uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
the only time he really gets his quiet time, he has to be disciplined for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Whoa, good point.
Well, and
Yeah.
discipline isn't a bad thing. It's what shapes
Totally.
you up.
Well, I mean, that's what I've been going through with, the past 6, 8 months. I've been talking about it for a couple months now. It's just been a life-changing amount of turmoil in my life. And I'm
Yeah,
so grateful to God. I mean, because this is not, it could have gone a dozen, a thousand different ways. but I'm grateful to God that He had me in a place. He had taught me this much so far that when turmoil really strikes like this, the the only thing to do is to draw closer and to get alone with God. But like that isn't an obvious thing to people who the Lord hasn't worked on. Like it's so easily could I have my instinct or whatever spiritually to have been to do what so many other people do, is to distract from the turmoil with this or that. And it doesn't have to be, as hard as drugs or alcohol or women or whatever. But even to fill the space to divert the mind from listening to God is, just as unhelpful when the Lord's got you in turmoil and He's trying to do something for you and
Putting
with
your
you.
putting your hope and faith. You got to put your hope or your faith in something. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Um,
you're
I'm
you're going
actually
to.
uh, I'm actually reading First Samuel. Oh, I'm in the second now. I just for the first time in my life, I've never read either of Samuel or Kings. So this is a
Oh,
whole brand new thing to me. But in all of First Samuel, basically, is just about David running from Saul, and that's a perfect example of
yes.
all the things that you're talking about: being in the wilderness, relying on God, how to treat your enemies.
Right, right.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that book.
Yeah. No, I love Kings, but I love Samuel. Yeah, and it's a lot of it is like, I mean, it's that real quality, sort of Old Testament realness to what it feels like to be in a relationship with God. I mean, it's essential in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, look, I've been joking about why digging holes is such a natural part of being a person and why it's so important. But I seriously consider that the peace and the quiet and the aloneness that you get just both in the work that it takes to dig a hole, but then also the satisfaction of being in the hole and hiding in it is a very special place that you get to spend with God. And I recommend everybody check it out. Psalm 40, by the way, in case everybody didn't know, Psalm 40, you've been producing Canary Cry News Talk, producing our stuff for so long. Very talented creator. I just wanted to take the chance to let you know that I really appreciate everything you've done for us, buddy. Oh, is he gone? He might be
Hear
gone. Oh,
me?
you're coming back. You're coming back. Oh, you're not coming back. Psalm 40 is a robot. You sound like a robot, Psalm 40. We'll do it one more second. We'll give it a couple more seconds here. It sounds like your phone's service is kind of glitching out. Oh, and there he goes. All right. Well, good. I'm glad I at least got to sing Psalm 40's praises while he was here. If he calls back in, we'll bring it back on. Don't worry about it, Psalm 40. But thank you so much for calling, and hope to talk to you again. Okay. Oh, we got somebody else coming in here too. Okay. All right, let me take a look. All right, we got somebody. Got somebody in the waiting room. I'm gonna let you stay there real quick while I we talk about shovels. Thank you to Sir Ike and Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman for posting in the chat the website easydigging.com. Which looks like your go-to place for premium tools for gardening, farming, and trenching. They got wheel hose, they got broad forks, they got grub hose, they got Euro wheel hose, you got garden seeders, you got bottom diggers, you got switchblade hose, shovels, jab planters. You got everything you need over at easydigging.com. This is not an advertisement and not even an endorsement, but thank you to Mrs. Tinfoil Ham, the whole Tinfoil Hatman family, for bringing this to my attention. So, real quick, get yourself a shovel, folks. For those who know, you know. Get yourself a quality shovel. Sir Cool Runnings, man, I see you in the chat there. Hold on, or I see you in the waiting room. Real quick, 15 best survival shovels of 2024 from primalsurvivor.net. Check it out. They got the folding shovel, the SOG folding shovel. I actually have one of these. Very affordable. Folding shovel basically folds into a shovel a little bit bigger than the size of a Walkman. Very impressive. Five Joy military folding shovel multi-tool. Now we're getting there. Military grade folding shovel that has all sorts of fun stuff inside of it. Now, I found this shovel. Wow, you can just really go down the list of these shovels. Some of them are very tactical. Let me show you the most tactical shovel I found. This is an Amazon link, and I'm not encouraging anybody to buy anything from Amazon. In fact, I'd prefer you didn't. But this is the Zune Lotu Survival Shovel Multi-Tool with Axe. 29 in 1, unbreakable tactical shovel. Tactical shovel! This is for the gearheads out there. Martensitic Steel Kit Compact Camping Shovel Folding Adjustable 7-angle for outdoor gears. Military tool gifts. They're really trying to get the SEO going on this one. Folks, this is a shovel. For my birthday coming up in October, this is the shovel that will be on the list. And just in case you're wondering, yes, it is $239. This is an expensive shovel. But comes with an axe head. The shovel itself looks like some sort of weapon from the Avengers. Like some sort of, what's that guy's? Thanos. It's a Thanos shovel is what it is. Very tactical looking. You can tell that the shovel, the edges of the shovel are sharp and very serrated and weaponized. It's a weaponized shovel. Inside this shovel, you can see a detachable spear for when you need to fend off the marauders. Your shovel, which is basically already a spear, boop, press a button, boom, it's another spear. You've got your multi attachment length for the handle. You got a fire starter in there. You got whatever that thing is. You're keeping your paracord in there. It's got the hatchet handle that just goes right, all comes in a nice little package there. This is the kind of shovel I recommend people start looking into. I do not have one. So I cannot vouch for this particular shovel. But if we're looking into surviving any sort of situation into the future, you want your shovel to be a spear also. Why would you not want to be able to start fires with your shovel or turn it into some sort of Viking axe? Of course, it's got the wrench holes in the middle there. So if your shovel's not a wrench, what's even the point? Come on, bunkaroos. Maybe we gotta get some of these shovels. If we do a Knights and Dames of Basil's Bunker, we can get like a custom not embroidered, but etched shovel. It goes on your wall. Save your life someday. Check out shovels, folks. I'm telling you, sounds silly, but I will tell you right now, you'll have some fun looking at shovels. All right, we got one more caller. We're gonna say hello. Oh, you're right, Cody. Cody says it's missing a hammer. That's a good point. I do not see a hammer on this. All right, we got to find one that has a hammer. Look at that. It can go 90 centimeter handle, 61 centimeter handle, 46 centimeter. You can do a dual wield, one-handed shovel. You can do your great shovel. Turn to, if you're more of a two-hander battleman. And then, of course, you've got the standard one-handed. It lets you hold a shield in one hand, your shovel in the other hand. Lots of good options. Of course, you can put that hatchet end on the 46 centimeter shovel, which will turn it into a throwing axe for just such the occasions. You're digging a hole, and then suddenly some sort of goblin or creature crawls up from the hole. You got to defend your hole from whoever's trying to attack it. These are just the things that you got to think about when you're digging holes. All right. let's take another caller, and then I think we'll be moving in the right direction here. What are we looking at? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I had a wonderful comment from a listener who said, "Hey, we don't really care if it's 2 hours or more or less. You know, kind of like how when we started Canary Cry News Talk, it was 29 minutes on the dot. It's a practice in consistency. It's a practice in making sure this show is not unreasonable, so I can make sure to keep doing it. All right, we got on the line in the waiting room here. We've got Sir Cool Runningsman. Let me click this button. Cool Runningsman, you are live, brother.
Yo,
What's going on?
hey man. So it terrible timing. I'm actually making a drop off at a coffee shop real quick.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I will be right back. It'll probably take me 2 minutes.
Okay, you got 2 minutes. We're landing the plane here pretty soon, but I will wait for you, Sir Cool's running man.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
BRB.
Don't worry. I will remove you from here. There we go. You know what I will do while we wait? Cool. Let's see. Cool Runningsman. There you go. When you get here, put a little note in the private chat so I know to bring you back. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, folks. You know, I don't know exactly if doing themed episodes is the way to do it. I don't know. We're figuring this out together, but we've gone 5 episodes in a row, and we've only gone 5 episodes because of you, dear listeners. I want, of course, value for value is a big part of this, which means we don't do any advertisements, we don't sell any products, although maybe I should start charging some of these companies for talking about their product. I mean, that is a bit more of a traditional way to monetize a podcast, but as of now, we are purely on value for value, all right? And here's the thing. Some of you, I think, are producing this show, but if you specifically want to produce this show, send in a little note. Send in a note that tells me that you are meaning to produce this show. And for those who don't know, you know, you can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. You can make memes, you can make jingles, you can make songs, you can make all sorts of stuff, and you can upload all that at canarycry.art, and I'll put it on the show here. But you can also help me out with stuff. It's a brand new show, so we need all sorts of stuff, you know, clipping and social media and I don't know, research. Trash man doing research all the time. You can do all that too, folks. I would love to get some more hands on deck. And if you're interested, go to or email me at canarycryradio@gmail.com. And I promise, if the good feedback keeps coming, we'll do all the infrastructure. We'll get the correct email. We'll have a producer page. We'll do that just to, you know, because here's the thing. We're 5 episodes in. I don't know if anybody still wants this show or how long it will last. I'm just here to bring whatever value I possibly can to y'all. And if you want to put value back in, it's the only way that we survive. I want to give a big shout out to Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman, who specifically produced this show. She sent a little note in and said, "Hey, this is for Basil's Bunker, okay? This is Basil's very special producership, and I really appreciate that, Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman. I don't actually have the producership right in front of me, so I don't know if I have an amount to share with anybody, but I really appreciate that. Remember, folks, you can go to canarycry.support if you want to learn more about producing this show and keeping it alive, because it's value for value. We're not going to just keep doing this show if it's not bringing any value to people's lives. And thank you to producer Andrea F, for sending in your email. I am going to be bringing that to the show soon. And anybody who has any tips, tricks, interesting things for me to look into, stuff you want me to cover or talk about, just send an email, canarycryradio@gmail.com. Thank you very much, Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman. Okay, we're going to bring on Sir Cool Runningsman, just a real gangster of a producer for a long time. Let's get him on here. There you are. What's going on, Sir Cool Runningsman?
Hey, Basil.
You're back.
Yo, man. Hey, sorry, I am still driving, but we're all good here.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good if you're good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so we've actually talked before. Do you remember?
I do remember. I do remember. I don't remember what we talked about, but I remember. Uh, were you on a TJT episode?
No, I was
No.
I was on a Zoom call.
Okay. Was that for the meetup?
It was kind of like one of the Zoom calls that was like an official one, and so you actually made it on to sort of do like I don't know, like some kind of a supportive thing.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
we
remember
at
that.
the
I totally
yeah
remember that.
we at the Canary Cry Community Forum, we just
Yes.
we're doing these almost weekly Zoom calls, and then at one point, it basically was just brought to your guys' attention that it was going so well, and you were like, "Yeah, let's get on there and give the guys, all these people, the opportunity to talk to the guys." So you were on, and uh, yeah, I talked to you
I
about one.
remember that.
So do you remember? So specifically, I was telling you just I was the FedEx guy driving around, and
Yes.
I was like, yeah. So there's this church on my route, and I was like, they have this thing on their way. It's like a powerlifting industry called Telestai.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm so
Yeah,
glad that
and you
those.
were like, I'm kind of confused here. What? So it is finished.
Dude, I am
Yeah,
so happy that the world still has powerlifting ministries. They are such a gem of culture that I don't know really if they get the props that they deserve. But once in a while, like just going around on YouTube or social media, these guys are out there, man, and they are doing feats of strength that
yeah.
only God can accomplish.
And you guys know better than anybody. Not Captain Falcon. What? Yes, Captain Falcon, F-Zero
From
fame.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh,
he
yes.
derives his strength from his faith in
Yeah.
the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yes. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, for those who don't know, Captain Falcon, he's an old school video game character, but then recently got more, got a bunch more attention for being in the Super Smash Brothers um, franchise. And it was like, I think it was just in the past couple years, the Japanese guy who created Captain Falcon, like decades
Yeah,
ago, for this old school Nintendo game, I believe. He came out and somebody asked him like, "Okay, well, where does Captain Falcon's powers come from?" And he's just like, "From his faith in Jesus Christ as his savior." And like all of Christendom had been filled with a Holy Spirit excitement that, there's an official God-fearing Christian representation in the Super Smash Brothers series. I love it.
true story. My friend is very much engaged in the culture war, and his son plays Super Smash Brothers because of this endorsement.
Yes. Yes, bro. That's so good. I know it's so funny. It's just a little bit of video game talk for a second. He was always, he was, he was, it took a very special person to have Captain Falcon as their first pick. But, somebody, if they were prayed up and they had read their Bible that day, they were unstoppable with Captain Falcon. So
Unbeatable. Falcon punches, Falcon kicks for days.
Falcon punch, Falcon kick, Falcon everything. It's just occurring to me. I want to mention for those who just saw the Canarians out there that Sir Cool Runningsmon and your spouse, you guys were the first Canary Cry, at least first publicly announced Canary Cry marriage, which is so
Yes.
very cool, and you hold such a wonderful place in all of our hearts. So thank you very much for
Oh, thank
including us in your love story.
Yeah, no, you guys like my initial notes, you
Hmm.
guys facilitated the community, and that's kind of I think what you guys are really trying to you know, get back to is sort of like focus more on the community. And I like that Gons is starting to do the other show. You know, you're
Yeah.
doing the Basil's Bunker. It's a really cool thing. It's you know, we've gone to several meetups, and you know, we hosted one out in East Texas as well. And the community aspect, it really is something special. You really don't know what you're missing until you go visit some folks. You know, like
Yeah.
minded folks.
I love that, man. We have not been pushing a lot of meetups recently, and we should probably start doing that because when we talk about it, people put on meetups. But I have really been thinking. I don't know what would need to happen in my life to facilitate this going on, but it's like what I really want to do is do like a meetup tour. Like if we could get,
Uh-huh.
like 5 meetups lined up over a month or a few weeks or something, and I could just go from place to place. And Gons, I of course would be best case scenario. Gons could come as well, but yeah, man, got to get out there. Got to get with the community. It's people don't realize when the community that they are a part of online, when you get into a group of Canarians, you just feel a connection with everybody there because the implicit agreements that you have are more powerful than anything that could separate you.
You know, and that's the thing too. Like, you find that you don't agree on, you know, everything like in a normal, you know, you go to church, same thing.
Yeah.
But the open mindedness is really the pearl in this oyster here. It's everybody is very like that. You don't nobody gets mad when
Yes.
you bring out something out of left field. You know,
Yes.
like
Thank you.
several of
Thank you
us
for.
are flat earthy, and
Yeah.
so it's like, you know, you can imagine just going to, I don't know, just, you know, any setting and just mentioning it like I bring it up at work just to get people's goats. And
Yeah.
yeah, you'd be amazed the reaction. Some people get visibly angry, but it's we all are capable of joking about stuff together, like making self-deprecation is a feature that we all have and part of the community that we form. So
It's really special that you bring that up because that's always been a part of what Gons and I, really value. And, a lot of people don't. Even a lot of our people, well, usually they don't last very long because if we say something that they disagree with, they automatically put us in the boo box and never come and listen again. That's one of the
right.
really special parts about our community, which is, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, how could you possibly think the same thing about everything? The broad scope of what we cover, it would be honestly, it would really worry me if somebody was trying to encourage everybody listening to believe the right thing, or else they're just wrong and they're you got to find something else. And it's the producers that really sort of exemplify that idea that, hey, we're all figuring it out together, man. And we certainly could have some big differences, like the shape of the earth or whatnot. But Christ binding us together is much more impressive than this, sort of trivia that can separate us. I really that feels good to hear you vocalize.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of which, I see in the chat that's internal here is Gonzo trying to get in.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I don't actually know if it's Gons, but he is in the waiting room, and I think he's doing this because he knows I'm trying to end the show, and he's going to come on and derail it. But we can bring him on, and we can see what he wants. You want to try to do a? You want to stay on the line while I bring Gons on? We'll see if it
Yeah.
works. Okay.
All right. Let's do it.
All right, Gons. I'm gonna bring you on while I'm trying to end the show. What's going on, Grumpy Gons? Is this the real Grumpy Gons?
This is the real Grumpy Gons.
There he is. I hear the kid in the back room. That's
I'm getting chased by the children.
Yeah.
And I there's just one thing I needed to know.
Okay.
Is how we went from episode 5 to episode 11 of Basil's Bunker.
Oh, did I do it wrong? Did I do the wrong one? Oh yeah. Oh, you're right. I did do it wrong. Yeah, I was trying to mix up the what's the numbering of the episodes, and you're right. I did 11 in one place, and I did 9, and I totally did not do the right Roman numerals. You know, I'm just trying to keep everybody on their toes, Gons.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. I just wanted to make sure I didn't sleep for a month or something, and I didn't realize it. Wake up, it's like 8 episodes later.
I'm doing this show every single day. You haven't been tuning in?
I wasn't even sure how to call in. Like, how are the people? Do you have a secret link you give out, or what's? I had to like.
Yeah. How did you? Oh, you just came in the back end of the whole thing and
I'm actually I'm on my phone, so I had to go log in, and I had to get the guest link and then log in as a guest. So.
Yep. Well, I make the guest link available. I put it into the chat. I put it into the email. The newsletter. So there you go. Everybody knows that again now. Gons, say hi to Sir Cool Runnings Man.
Oh, cool. Hey, Sir Cool Runnings Man. What's up, man? Good to talk to you.
Yeah. Hey. So actually, this is an amazing moment for you both to share here. So you guys know I've been supporting the podcast for close to 2 years, maybe more. But I actually I like to tell the story to some of the people at the meetups. I was originally actually an enemy of Face Like the Sun.
Ooh, that's what I like to hear.
Aha.
So if you recall, there was a there was a channel that it was like it had like one or two videos called like Face Like the Sun Exposed.
Oh yeah, I know about them. Yep.
Yeah, so I had some early influences and friends that were helping me in this journey to expose Face Like the Sun as being a falsehood teacher, you know, and also an undercover agent troll for the government.
Yeah, buddy.
So it turns out that we had shared psychosis, and I kind of like snapped out of it. So I wanted to personally apologize to you, Gons, for probably making some kind of, I don't know. I've had videos made about me and stuff. Like, it's not a good feeling. I can just imagine how you must have felt. So I just want to say I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good, man. I'm a little bit surprised, actually, that you would be involved with anything like that. I didn't know your past. That's now I'm questioning your motives.
What changed your mind? What changed your mind about Gons and his work? I mean, I guess you came out of the psychosis. That helps.
Yeah. So to kind of understand like why I was like that gung-ho in the beginning in the first place. So I was a recent convert when I was raised as like a Baptist-y Christian. You know, I kind of like rebelled from the faith, and I believe that I was saved at a point in time where like it was very like it was an exact moment of time. And so from that point, it was like I had all of this newfound zeal. You know what I mean? And I had to so at some point, like I had to enforce the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so what I believed was the truth at the time was the Sons of Seth theory. And I saw everything like sort of just being like sensational. And
we can go to the pool afterwards, but let's go back to the house and get. Oh, sorry.
No, you're so
talking to the.
So I had to correct this. And so in my journey to make videos in the future, because I had all the zeal, so I had all the drive to make videos. For some reason, what I saw this the top priority was like I have to I have to make a video about this guy. You know?
Yeah. No, it's a classic. You weren't the one who made the Basil Rosewater exposed video, did you?
No, not to my knowledge.
I was almost like flattered because it was a 2-hour video.
Oh,
It was
goodness.
a 2-hour YouTube video about, how much they didn't like me and why I was a CIA shill, which like I was like 23 at the time. Like if you're getting paid the big bucks at CIA at 23, like you're doing pretty good. But all is forgiven. All is forgiven for all the hate videos because that's kind of part of the fun. We can't believe it. We've been going for over a decade now, and thank God, we have grown as people, and thank God we have kept our spirits and our minds open to be molded by him, because my goodness, I would just be mortified if I was exactly the same as I was, 12 years ago. That would be bad.
Yeah, amen to that.
All right, you
I'll
two.
say, let me just mention one thing, and I'll let you go back because I know you got to tend to your animals. Yo, what's up, buddy? Yeah. No, I was actually thinking about this the other day, where I had made content before about, and we always talk about people like Bill Gates or Bezos or whatever, and they kind of turn into these targets, right? And I think there was a period of time when we can talk about it, and it was sort of the general, hey, these are the technocrats, they don't necessarily have the best intentions for humanity, all that kind of stuff. Now, because it's so popular to throw Klaus Schwab and all this kind of stuff, throw names out there, I guess it's just a maturing process where I'm less worried about these individuals as people and more about like the spirit behind not just them, but the people that are calling them out too.
Right.
Because if it's all about just tearing these people down, you might be missing the point, And I feel that the whole populist movement right now is tearing down the system, tearing down, and it's like they have names and they got WEF and all, and it's fine, great. People are learning about all this stuff. The anti-Zionist stuff is out of control. It's like, okay, people are learning, but it doesn't mean that you can just tear that down and then all is going to be well, because
it won't fix anything.
That's the big mistake. It's not going to fix anything, right?
That's kind of the thing. Yeah. If you said the magic words and you made the perfect video and you hypnotized everybody to believe you, and you successfully, psyoped or anti-psyoped everybody to be against Bill Gates, and Bill Gates, becomes destitute and disappears, that wouldn't actually solve any problems, because the principalities and the powers, they don't really care about the actual individual carrying out the plan. They would just find somebody else. So, I mean, in a way, there could be a way to look at it where really, these people are quite pitiful or deserving of our pity more than anything. But that's not as fun to make a video about.
Yeah, well, that's all I had. I just wanted to hop in and bother you, Basil, because I know you were.
Thank you.
You ignored my text for 2 days, and then
Yeah.
I see how.
No, we're on a break. No, just kidding.
You bail out on me on Wednesday.
Well, it's because your text messages are so long, man. You got to make your text shorter. It's hard to respond to 10 paragraphs.
That's true.
All right.
I was more talking about your dentist appointment. I think
the dentist drama continues.
Hey, man, right. I got a tip for the dentist stuff, by the way.
Okay. Might as well.
Okay, so I feel like I'm turning into Hank Hill, because I keep ending up in these circumstances where I think I'm going to an ordinary appointment, and then it turns out to be some kind of dystopic nightmare. So I'll tell you first, I had a eye appointment at this place, and they sit you in a room, and I'm like, okay, and she's like, the optometrist will be with you, and so I sit down, and there's a laptop screen, and it's got Zoom open, and so there's the mechanical thing, with the lens switcher. So it starts switching the lenses you know. And so the Indian guy on the Zoom call is like, "Hello, sir. Please put the device up to your face, and read me the top line."
Oh,
And
you were doing a telemedicine optometry appointment.
yeah, I was like,
That's
"Oh, well, this is
crazy.
how this is free." Okay. But it's just like a Hank Hill moment. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll put this up to my face then.
Tell me what to do. I'll do whatever you say, nice man on the computer screen. That's
So
hilarious.
then my dentist appointment. They take this camera and they're scanning like a CAD drawing of my teeth,
Mhm.
and they do like a panoramic X-ray and then like the traditional X-ray, and so they got like all these different like metrics for my teeth, and I'm like, is this really necessary? I just need a filling. And she tells me based on the AI algorithm that I need 2 root canals, a couple fillings, and
Oh
and
my gosh.
they're doing a whole game plan. And like, I'm like, hey, so I don't have any pain. I just need this hole filled.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy, dude.
So anybody out there, this is where pretty much every industry is headed. You're just going to be like told like you need something, and it's just an AI telling them that.
Oh my gosh. I already don't even trust the dentist telling me I need everything. That's crazy that the AI is giving you a list of stuff. Holy smokes. Well, I'll keep an eye out for that. The second they bring AI into my dentist appointment, we're going to have an issue. Sir Cool Runnings Mod, thank you so much for calling in, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah, you bet. Make sure to call in again. I'd love to talk to you again.
Absolutely, man. All right, I'll let you go. Have a
All
good
right.
day, man.
Thank you very much. You too. Take it easy. Thank you very much. Look at that. Look at that, folks. Look, we squeezed in an extra caller or two. We're having fun here. Well, I am just about coming to the end of my ability to sit in this chair much longer. So I really appreciate everybody coming in, hanging out with us. A little bit lower on the live viewers today, but that's no problem. The timing was weird. Everything's weird. Thank you to Rod. Rod during the show sent me an email with some feedback and stuff. Really appreciate that. And everybody else do that too. canarycryradio@gmail.com. Tell us what you think. And is there something you'd like to see more of, less of? And because right now, folks, the only thing keeping this show going is moral support. So you can be part of that. And let's see here. I think that's it. Yeah, I covered everything on the notes. Oh my gosh. All right. The one thing we got to make sure to do before the show is over. Oh, folks, this computer's dead. This computer's dead. It's not doing anything. Oh, no. Okay. Well, see, this is part of the fun. Throwing myself into the fire so I can dig my way out with my new cool military shovel. There we go. Feeding the ducks. We're going to end the show with a little bit of peace, a little bit of quiet, a little bit of, there we go, a little bit of Feed the Ducks, your favorite royalty-free stock music that comes with the streaming software. Thank you, everybody. I hope to continue doing this show. Make sure to let me know what you think. If you want to produce the show financially and you go to canarycry.support, make sure to send us an email and let us know that you wanted to come to Basil's Bunker, or that it was inspired by Basil's Bunker, of course. And yeah, if you're a meme maker or a artist or a musician, feel free to express yourself. If you're a kid out there, go ahead, draw your dream bunker, have mommy and daddy scan it, send it in. We'd love to show off some of the imagination of the lil bunkaroos out there. The lil bunkaroos. And that's, I think that's it for today. A little fragile today, I think. Is there anything else to say? I don't think there is. I'm completely unorganized. I'll try to be a little bit more organized next time. That's always the hope. Remember, your prepper term for the day is GHB, your get home bag. consider putting together a get-home bag. And your homework for all the couples out there, man, woman, you've been created to work together, and so you might as well dig a hole. Big hole, small hole, just dig it together and let me know how it goes. All right. Keep bunking, bunkaroos. Bunk it up, bunk it up, bunk it out. Bunkaroo Yahoo. Bunkaroo-roos. Bunka who? Bunka you.
Welcome to Basil's Bunker, where we have many amenities in the advent of coming societal collapse. Bohemian Grove generators powered by Chinese lithium cobalt batteries. Anti-air defense systems rivaling the IDF Iron Dome. Endless end times food ration buckets. And recreational activities like emu wrangling or Monty pet training.